bit rock and roll, so I'm going to bed in here. Pretty amazing that our moving average for this trip so far is 6.2 knots. The wind's just picked up to 30 knots behind us, and our autopilot couldn't really steer the boat anymore.
Well, it was above 30 knots, whatever it was going pretty crazy. Everything was overwhelmed.
Welcome to Free Range Sailing. For the last 4 years we have been sailing around our island continent and sharing our experiences with you.
Yes, look at that. Sensational.
After 9 months of hard work, we have just completed an extensive refit of our 50-year-old 30-foot fiberglass sailboat in Tasmania. Now we have a short weather window to close the loop and sail the 2,000 nautical miles home to Western Australia before the westerly winds of autumn return. To join us each week in a race against time to reunite with our families, thanks for subscribing to our channel and hitting the bell button. Last episode you saw us through the ups and downs of the beginning of our passage across the Great Australian Bight in the Southern Ocean. It's uncomfortable, it's really hard to eat, it's really hard to sleep.
We're trucking along, we're still wing on wing. We've got 2 reefs in the mainsail at the moment and 1 reef in the head sail just to balance things up.
There we go, we've made it to WA. We're in WA waters and we've got our first ship on the AIS. As you can see, its closest point of approach is going to be 6 nautical miles, so it's not too much to worry. I've already gone and seen it on the GPS and activated the target to make sure that we're not going to collide. The alarms might go off. I'm not sure, I think the alarm range goes off when we're within 5 nautical miles, so we might not have the alarms go off and wake up Troy. That would be good. Yeah, so it's in a deli, it's a carrier ship, but it's really nice to have this AIS feature. I can't see the ship at the moment. It's its distance from us at the moment is 8.6 nautical miles and I can't see it at the moment. It's travelling at a speed of 11.8 knots over ground. Not super fast, but pretty fast. But yeah, I'll keep my eye out for it. Maybe we'll see it, but it is pretty far away. But it's really reassuring to have this feature on our AIS. And we're nearing the 300 mile mark. We've been almost 2 days at sea. And it's just starting to pick up speed. I think the wind's just picked up. We might make 300 miles in 2 days. We've been moving for 1 day, 23 hours and 19 minutes, and the total distance travelled so far is 296 nautical miles. Maybe we won't quite make it, but we'll get pretty close. Average speed at the moment is 6.5 knots. Really mild weather. So nice. Well, how about that? 300 nautical miles in 48 hours and 4 minutes. So 300 miles in 2 days. Pretty cool. And that ship's just passing us now. It's behind us, it's astern. So it's all good. I think we might see a few more ships now as we're coming up closer to the shipping route from Western Australia over to the eastern states. Yeah, but we're about halfway now. A little over halfway. We've got 2 more nights at sea and we should get in early in the morning to the Research Archipelago to explore some of those islands before we head up around Cape Naturalist and up to Rottnest and Perth. I don't trust that maximum speed of 19.5 knots on the GPS there. It must have been when sometimes when we surf down the big waves, when we're wing on wing, the GPS kind of freaks out and I don't know, it must measure like us sliding sidewards as well as forwards, but that's pretty funny, 19.5 knots. But pretty amazing that our moving average for this trip so far is 6.2 knots. Might be a first for Mirrool. We've actually had an entourage of a couple of shearwaters and an albatross with us since yesterday, which has been really nice. Even when I was on my night watch last night, I could see the shearwaters diving in and out behind us in the moonlight, which is really cool. I'm hoping that they're the same shearwaters. I think they are. But I don't know, the albatross hasn't shown itself for a while. Maybe it saw that other ship and it's gone off to check that out. But maybe it'll come back to us.
Nice easy crossing.
You headball. A bit rock and roll, so I'm going to bed in here.
It is a bit rock and roll.
I like getting locked in here. Up forward, it's too rolly cold. As the afternoon turned to evening, we could see the waves getting bigger, which is a pretty sure sign of strong winds on the way. The wind's just picked up to 30 knots behind us, and our autopilot couldn't really steer the boat anymore. We kept veering up into the wind, and then it would correct too far, and then we jibe, and then the mainsail would backfill. Anyway, basically our autopilot can't steer in these conditions. They weren't predicted, these strong winds, this evening. We were expecting like 15 knots, not 30. So Troy's been steering for the last 2 hours outside, and I've been out there with him. I chucked my clothes on too quickly and I didn't put any jumper on, so I started to get really cold, so I've come in to put a jumper on. But I've been out there with him just telling him about any waves, because the waves are coming from multiple different directions, so he's been steering down the waves. He's doing a really great job on the tiller. I think he's having a good time. I think we both prefer to be just having a normal watch. The boat's going really fast, we're averaging like 6.5 to 7 knots. So it's pretty cool. Like, it means we're going to get to our first anchorage sooner, but it's a little bit tiring doing this at midnight. But, you know, that's part of the adventure, isn't it? Anyway, we'll check in with you once hopefully these winds abate after a couple of hours and we can come in and put the autopilot back on. But yeah, I'm going to go back out there and join him, take him some chocolate. No tea because he needs to go to the loo. So yeah, take him some chocolate and yeah, see how we go. Well done, Skipper.
How'd you enjoy that?
3 hours of white knuckle terror on the tiller.
Was it 3 hours?
I think it was 2.5.
Wow, time flies when the boat flies. So,
Wow.
there was just nothing for it, eh? We had to hand steer our way out of that.
But you did it.
Yeah, I reckon we probably got us a lot closer to our destination a lot quicker, because that was a lot of 13 knots.
You were making sure that the boom didn't go in the water, which was steering.
It was sort of a toss-up. So when it got to, well, it was above 30 knots, whatever it was going pretty crazy. Everything was overwhelmed. Just by reefing the headsail more, so it was a tiny little triangle, and going downwind, that took a lot of pressure off everything. But once you start going downwind, then that's it, you're committed. But no, it worked out well. We pretty much, I was pretty convinced that wind was only short-lived. So we just rode it out, and as it turned out, it was only a couple of hours of hanging on to a tiller. So and it didn't even feel like that. It feels like I've only been out for 40 minutes or so. But we did. We had to be very careful not to put the boom in the water, because those waves were definitely rolling us. The boom's straight out. It's a shame it didn't happen in daytime. Could have rolled a camera, but it's more exciting at night time, I suppose, when you can't see anything.
Occasionally the moon coming out to show us the waves.
Yeah, you can just see glow-in-the-dark crests on the waves. I'm just going to have a look for... I don't think anything leaked. It doesn't seem to be any leaks.
I need to check the anchor locker, but the lid popped open on the anchor locker.
The lid did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no worries. So we've seen some of the trials and tribulations of cooking in the galley while we're underway there.
Yeah.
With a gimbaled camera. So
it's been too long without a hot meal. It's been like 3 days, I think.
We've been
3 days, yeah, 3 days.
We've been doing a little bit of passage fasting, where it's just basically snacks and things like that. So she's put her foot down and said it's time for a hot meal. So this is, I think this is going to be like the joy of that insulated cooker that we've got. So we can do a quick bit of prep now, and we're actually doing a bit of motoring because the winds are very light, and we're sailing again now, which means we'll start to rock and roll because everything's directly behind us, and it's a really hard point of sail to manage. But once this is all done, Pasty will be able to throw that in the cooker and just leave it there, and we'll have a nice hot dinner without any, like naked flame is the big one. We can go and do our thing around the boat and manage it. We don't leave a naked flame unattended.
Yeah.
But I, for one, am looking forward to some blue skies because we've been sailing through the formation of a few troughs and stuff like that. We had incredibly strong winds last night, so I had to hand steer for a couple of hours. But the main thing is at the moment we're always looking at a lot of overcast. It's a very, very moist environment. It's we're making good time. We did 2 days, 300 miles. I don't think we'll get another 150 miler today, but we'll come close. I reckon we'll probably do 145 or something like that. So our biggest worry now is getting to an island that's in unsurveyed waters in the early morning. So we've sort of got to put the brakes on Mirrool again. She just wants to go.
I just tried it, it's good. I used the gravy from that roast lamb we had 3 or 4 days ago in there. That looks pretty good.
Bacon?
There's bacon. I found that we made this savoury mince like a few days ago and you really liked it because I did capsicum, mushroom, bacon, onion mince. And just really nice flavour. It kind of tastes like a pizzeria. It's yummy, isn't it?
It's like a liquid Napolitana.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think you do amazing in that galley though.
That's pretty good. That's yummy.
This motion's pretty comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to get it done before. So in here I've got potatoes, so they'll slow cook as well. I just got to bring them up to the boil and simmer them for about 20 minutes so that the heat's all through the potato.
So when you put that hot meal in, you want to have a reservoir of hot water in there with it, don't you, to keep the space warm?
That's why I did these potatoes, yeah. If I just put that in, it would lose heat too quick to really slow cook well and stay really hot. So yeah, put these potatoes in boiling water as well and that will keep the heat.
Moving galley, boiling water. What could go wrong? Going for it?
Yep, boiling, simmering good. Turn them off. Did it!
Not long after I'd put away dinner, the wind started to increase and the wind steering was becoming overwhelmed by the following sea, so I called Troy out to the tiller to hand steer.
Sometimes the wind vane was able to hold the course, but we opted to hand steer anyway, just to maximise our speed. A machine can't anticipate conditions quite like a person can, and we had some exhilarating moments of surfing past our hull speed.
We had been following the 100-metre contour line for most of the passage in order to avoid the currents running to the east and north towards the mainland. As we came nearer to landfall, we needed to jibe to a port tack in order to continue following the contour and set a course for our proposed anchorage in the Recherche archipelago.
First, the headsail pole had to be shifted to starboard after reefing the sail. Having guy lines fore and aft on the pole prevent it from swinging wildly once load is taken off. Preparing to jibe, we pulled in the main sheet to remove the starboard preventer from the end of the boom. Then we maintained a slightly adjusted course to port to keep up our speed before coming about to starboard and allowing the boom to jibe over. During the manoeuvre, we discovered that reusing one of Mirrool's old ropes for our reefing line was probably a bad idea. Recycling should only be taken so far, as shown by this broken line. Fortunately, the frayed end didn't disappear into the boom, allowing for an easy fix. We kept the boat running under headsail while we attended to replacing the snap reefing line. We have made our outhaul long enough to be pressed into service as any of our reefing lines in case of mishap, but that redundancy wasn't needed this time around. We were able to attach a new length of 8mm line and use the old line as a messenger to pull it through the boom and out of the mast end sheaves, the repair taking very little time and completed while under headsail alone.
With 40 miles to complete before a welcome landfall, we lost our wind, switched on the engine and motored our way past flocks of seabirds resting on the surface. A first approach to Door Island must be done with reasonable visibility, as none of the hazards such as this low-lying rock off to starboard are accurately charted, if they appear at all. Much of this area remains unsurveyed on official Australian hydrographic charts, and is home to wild seas, heavy rain and mist.
Treacherous waters.
Unsurveyed. We're back to our favourite thing.
What does it smell like to you?
Smells like we got some new neighbours.
Yeah.
547, a moving average of 5.9. So even though we lost our wind and we had to sort of just trundle along, that's pretty good. That's you know, we were making those 2 days, 300 miles, so we were hooking along
6.2 then. Or 6.4.
Yeah, so the 6.4 was our average then. But it's come down to 5.9, so it's not a bad one. 92 hours and 15 minutes. Felt like it too. It says maximum speed 19.5, but I don't believe that. Well, time to ride up the log, and then we'll go and have a look at some of these seals. Actually, I need a coffee.
Sleep first.
Yeah, I need some rest.
Yeah, we'll
I'm just excited because we've got new neighbours. Our favourite type of neighbours.
So many seals out here. And they're really noisy. I'm sure we'll probably be able to go to shore and get good shots of them. Take the zoom lens.
Don't miss next episode where we explore this remote, rarely visited island on the West Australian coast. We hope you enjoyed this week's video, and if you did, thanks for giving it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. If you haven't already, thanks also for subscribing. And until then, we'll see you next time.